Hello, hello. Welcome. We've got Julie in the crowd. We've got Sintra hosting. Julie, can you hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up reaction? Does that even exist? A wave? A heart? A laughy face? Okay. Hey, there we go. Thank you. We've got Angel here. Julie, yes. Heart, high five, wave, the works.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Woohoo! Jamming on content.
Julie.
yes. Julie.
Hey, Angel, you see us messing around in your board and scared to death to touch anything?
No. Can't break anything in there. Yeah.
We've decided you're a machine. We're loving it.
Decided. We've always known.
This is true, but it's really apparent today. Let me tell you, I need some coffee to keep up.
I'm still drinking mine. Welcome, MoonCats. Welcome, Vishnu.
MoonCats.
Look at that. It's the MoonCats.
Party time.
Moon. I was trying to purr, but I couldn't purr. It sounded more like a pigeon, to be honest. It's terrible. Yeah.
New York cats.
Yeah, New York cats. Yeah.
I like how your sound effect for moon was moon. Moons just make that noise. Oh, we got Vishnu up to the stage. What's going on, Vishnu?
What's up, Nick? What's up, Angel? How's it going?
Pretty good.
Can't
complain.
That's right. Beautiful day. Life's good. Can't complain.
Beautiful day. Yeah. Vishnu, tell us more about the day you have. I'm gonna pin a post from MoonCats while you tell us about your day.
What can I say? Life's good. Like I said, the weather's beautiful. It's been crazy sunny lately, so it's nice to have some, bit of a cooler day today. So just enjoying it, spending a lot of time in the balcony. It's good.
Hell yeah.
All right, test. Can people hear me now?
We sure can.
Huzzah! Yeah. Twitter just did not want to behave.
It never does. Never has, never will. It is the world and the land of the rug. Welcome, Pause. How are you?
I am good. I'm just getting I'm doing Twitter Spaces from a space I don't normally do it, so I'm just getting all of my stuff around to be set up.
Nice. Yeah. Take your time. I know we've got people popping in. We're only a few minutes into the start of this.
My kingdom for desktop support for Twitter Spaces, because I have just a much nicer setup than my phone.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do, though. They don't make it very user-friendly to do it from your desktop. But it sounds like you have a mic going. That's impressive.
I do. Yeah, I do so many of these. I just invested in a pretty nice mobile headset just so that I didn't sound like I was coming from 3/4 of the way across the room.
Yeah. Well, you sure sound like you are right next to us in the room. We like that.
Yeah, it sounds really good, actually. Yeah, it sounds like you're in the same room. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay, we got people popping in. Welcome, everybody. I see some cats out in the crowd.
Shout out to Zib Zub and Death in the Air and Straight Alien.
Shout out.
Can I? CryptoBots Novak's over here. I just wanted to say that Zib Zub's Reaper on that MoonCat is so sick.
It really is.
That is actually designed by, I don't know if you've seen Crunchy Cat around the Discord, but that is actually designed by his daughter. And she has several designs in the MoonCats boutique. But yeah, I have that Reaper on my Gutter Garf, and it is probably my favorite accessory. It just looks good with everything else.
That is scary. This girl sounds like she's an inspired artist, but I'm almost scared to meet her ever.
Oh, and here's the best part is she's like 16.
Wow.
16, and she's putting Grim Reapers on kittens.
All of her art is honestly fantastic. Every time that she puts a new design in the boutique, I'm like, I'm just going to go over there and buy that before it sells out. Thank you.
Well, look what MoonCats has made possible through your innovation. It's amazing.
Truly amazing.
I do love that we have multiple people rocking the Nouns Dow glasses on their MoonCats.
Whoa, where's the other Nouns Dow glasses?
Death Deer down in the audience.
Oh yeah, wow. Okay, went with blue. It was between red and blue. Those look great. I like the zoom in on the face. You can really
well,
see
the nice thing
nose.
is with the Nouns Dow accessory, when you buy those glasses, you get every palette. So anytime you get bored of the red, you can actually just jump back into the boutique, go to your wardrobe, and change what palette that you're using.
True.
Dude, that feature, when I learned that for Digi's mech that I have, I was so excited because I can change my mech color palette. That's a great feature of the
yeah. I have the Mecha Ghidorah, one of the huge mechs that Tusk put out, and I just like rotate colors between them. I'm not wearing it on my like PFP MoonCat at the moment because someone designed a ninja suit, and I was like, I have to be a ninja.
Yes.
This is why I love the MoonCats. We've already talked about Grim Reapers, ninjas, Nouns Dow glasses. I mean, talk about a project that incorporates other projects, other artists, brings on more people to the community. I mean, that is partially why we're here today. I won't dive fully in because I know people are still popping in. Wow, Jake.bit, shout out. We've got Eleanor, hello, welcome. We've got a bunch of people up on the stage too. I will say that today is a very important day. I think, is it today? Pause. Is today the day?
Today is the 5th anniversary of the MoonCatRescue contract launching. Our official anniversary is tomorrow because that's when the very first MoonCat number 0 was minted. So that's the day we officially celebrate. But today is definitely still special, and there's stuff that's going to be going on.
Today's like Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yep, for sure.
And some folks might be in Australia or in a different time zone, and so today is already that day, so they can celebrate for us. Shout out to Freddie. Is Freddie in the crowd? Freddie's on our team and is in Australia 14 hours ahead, so already celebrating the Christmas day of MoonCat lore. Well, yes, so Pause, thank you so much for joining. Everyone else, thank you so much for joining. It's going to be a fun hour. We're going to talk about NFT onboarding and community building and MoonCat history and just general positivity in NFTs and in the NFT space and with historical NFTs. I work with and for Sintra, which we'll tell you more about towards the end. But today's really about connecting with all of y'all and just saying what's up and learning so much from one of the best communities in NFTs. And that's already clear with all the folks that have joined in. So Pause. I do want to ask you, if you don't mind, to just give the folks in the crowd that don't know much about MoonCats, like maybe a bit of a rundown or like a little bit of a historical download, if that's
for
okay.
Sure. Yeah. So MoonCatRescue was launched 5 years ago on August 9th, 2017. It was primarily inspired by CryptoPunks and sort of seeing the collapse of the original DAO. And the two original designers, Wonder and Jerfels, kind of decided that, you know, they wanted to do something in the Web3 space. They wanted to make sort of a collectible. The term NFT hadn't really been solidified at that time. And so they kind of got together. They were really inspired by all of the space news that was going on because there was going to be like a lunar or solar eclipse, and there were solar flares going on, and everybody on the internet loved cats. And so they combined those two things together to get MoonCats. And so the in universe, the lore version of the the rescue was, well, there are all of these solar flares happening and we need to rescue the MoonCat Society from the moon. And so a ship, the Chain Station, went to the moon and had enough space for 25,600 cats on it. And so originally, when you went to rescue a MoonCat, it was actually a very small proof of work action on your computer. And so your computer had to search or work to find a MoonCat, and that could take as little as 5 seconds. It could take as much as a minute and a half. When you found a MoonCat, the site then said to you, is this the MoonCat that you wish to rescue, or do you want to continue searching for another MoonCat? All said and done, there was actually 4 billion potential permutations for different MoonCats, of which 25,440 were rescued.
Amazing. And I did just post, while you're saying that, I just posted a little bit of a charity auction that y'all are running for the 5 years. That's pretty related since it's rescuing IRL cats.
Yeah. So we are partnering with the Edinburgh Dog and Cat House. I keep saying cat and dog house because cats are superior, clearly. And so they basically came to us and said, hey, we're looking for Web3, native NFTs that are interested in doing fundraising. And we had actually spent most of last year looking for a fundraising partner and really struggling to find a shelter that both understood what Web3 was, had the capacity to accept Web3 donations, and weren't using sort of a middleman company. And so they came to us. We were super excited. Tusk, who I think might be in the audience, if not now, then shortly, designed this amazing one-of-one accessory, the Edinburgh tartan and the bagpipes. The flag and the island that the MoonCat is on is actually going to be something that anybody can buy starting next week, and the proceeds for that accessory also go towards the dog and cat house. And our goal is to raise 5 ETH for them, because they actually need to replace the roof on their cattery, and that is something that is definitely near and dear to our heart.
Oh my God, their cattery. Yes. Okay. Amazing. Crypto bots. You got something you want to add to that?
Just a quick question, because I have been a huge fan of MoonCats for a long time, and just learning about these nearly 4 billion cats, which were sadly perished in the last solar flare.
No, they didn't perish. They decided to go underground into the core of the moon, and they are safely living out their life there. Don't worry, they're safe.
Okay, I was terrified. I wanted to know how it was triaged. Was there a lottery? Was it ethical? Did Grandma Cat get left behind? I was fuming over here, so thank you.
No cats were harmed in the making of the MoonCatRescue.
No cats left behind.
And it's sort of interesting how that sort of, the cats were saved underground, ended up being built into the lore later on in the project as well, because the MoonCats sort of went into a crypto winter. And so, Jerfles and Wander tried to build up the project through 2017 and 2018, and then the full crypto winter hit, and they decided, well, this isn't something that people are interested in right now. Let's keep the website up, because maybe people will be interested in it one day. And that's exactly what happened. In March of 2021, the project was rediscovered. The rescue ship was very quickly filled up. And then there was sort of a question of, okay, there are these Genesis MoonCats. They're black and white MoonCats. They might be wandering around the cats of Earth to this day. You never know. And there was only ever going to be 256 of them, of which 96 had been released. And so Jerfles and Wander put it to the community. All right, what should we do with the remaining 160 Genesis MoonCats, these black and white MoonCats, these special MoonCats? Do we just release them and potentially let bots snap them all up? Or do we burn the keys to the Genesis release contract? And the community voted overwhelmingly to burn the keys. You never burn cats, only keys. And so in our lore, those 160 cats were the leaders who took the rest of the MoonCats into the center of the moon. And so we call that taking the path of the heroes.
That is good lore. I'm glad you weren't burning any cats. That would have made me sad as well. But it sounds like you some of these heroes may have onboarded some cats onto their ships to save them, which is the perfect transition for me to talk about onboarding, because that is the title of this sweet, sweet space that we have going here. And yeah, is something that I really want to talk to this whole crew about, to know what are some of the tricks, some of the tips. How have y'all had so much success? I know you have a pretty giant holder base and a big community of Twitter followers and Discord participants. So yeah, pause. I guess my first question around onboarding is, what is the MoonCat way?
One of the things, and you probably guessed it from me talking about it, is we've made a story around the MoonCats. And having sort of that lore around the MoonCats makes them super relatable in a way that not every other NFT are. There are lots of NFTs with stories, and you definitely see them having big, successful communities. So that is not inherently unique to us, but it is definitely something that we are proud of. We have sort of a saying that is fur over floor. So, the base price of the project isn't as important to us as the story surrounding it. And people definitely like that approach.
I sure do. I love Fur Over Floor. That definitely keeps people around and keeps people laughing, no matter what the floor price is, which we think is definitely important too, because there has to be some patience in this space, which we don't see a lot of on Twitter, but we do see a lot of with the MoonCat community. It seems like there is a strong amount of folks that are going to hold and say, like, this is a historical group, so we're holding for a long time, and that's always a good sign of how well you've built up the community and how you've onboarded them. What's another tip, especially for like getting new folks in to the community?
I think part of it is a little bit out of our hands in that, as a historical project, we just have 5 years of history that projects that launched in 2021 or 2022 don't. That definitely attracts a certain type of buyer. And we also sort of make the joke that we can never go below mint price because MoonCats were actually free to mint. And so that definitely has people come to MoonCats with a different mentality than they might for some other NFTs, that they are primarily in it to buy it, wait for the price to go up, and then immediately sell it.
Yeah, you can't go below zero. Although at this point in the bear market, it sure feels like some project might find a way to do that. Well, I also want to, I know we have all these speakers up here. It's great to see everyone's face. If anyone is in the crowd and they want to come up and tell us about onboarding tips and community building tips, feel free to request and we'll have you come up here. But I do want to open it up to other speakers. Do you all have any tips or tricks that you want to share? Okay, not everybody's jumping in at once.
I'll jump up. I mean,
here we go.
how do you follow that up? MoonCats, they have 5 years worth of being in the space. Like that is an extraordinarily, and this is going to sound funny, a very unique pedigree, pun intended. That is a very, very unique pedigree to have in the space. I mean, a lot of projects don't last more than a month or 3, and so to be 5 years building out something that's impressive like that, it's very hard to follow up. But I definitely appreciate you guys for having us up here. This is Noise of Dimension. Thank you to Novax for having us on here. Thank you to everybody else, Shah.eth, as well as MoonCats. I see Savannah down in the crowd as well. Very honored to be here with you guys. I like that we're already talking about combining IRL utility and teaching people about Web3. And one of the things I think that we can talk about to kind of talk about onboarding and community building is education. Why is Web3 so interesting? Why are NFTs so interesting? And over at Dimension, we are creating both a metaverse and offering metaverse services to other projects. And so this kind of opens up this discussion about what is the metaverse? Why is it something that should be built on Web3? And why is blockchain tech, again, just so cool? And so we don't have the historical pedigrees as MoonCats, but we're trying to approach this idea of making education and exploration like fun and immersive in so many different ways. But yeah, I just wanted to chime in real quick. That's one of the ways that we're working on it. Clearly, as we are developing like our game, we have a lot of different ways to facilitate social interactions. And this is, again, another way to kind of teach people how seamlessly NFTs can be inserted in life. And again, the power of Web3. And, it's just really awesome to be part of this type of discussion.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you. Thanks for jumping in and saying that piece and for creating a project that is, focused around education and fun and having people learn along the way. I personally was at dinner with my aunt and uncle and cousin last night. And of course, like what I'm doing and who I work for came up, and I have a cousin. I think we all probably have a cousin that likes to scream crypto and NFTs are a scam if it comes up at a dinner table, which I think will come up for everyone at some point or already has.
That
And
cousin will still be doing that in 15
yeah,
years. They'll still be that crypto,
it's a scam. But speaking to what he loves was one of my tactics, just to like jump in on what you said about education. He grew up as a big gamer, still is a gamer, and talking about interoperability and NFT gaming, and even like using the example of Vitalik Buterin and why he created Ethereum, which I won't go too far into, but basically, I think it was World of Warcraft removed a sword that he built up and loved, and he was just like, "Wait a minute, we can't let the gaming companies have all the power over us. Let's create something that allows us to own pieces or all of the game," which is important. And so I told that to my cousin because he loves gaming, and I was talking about his favorite game, Zelda, and how cool it would be if he could own his Zelda character and bring that to other games.
Oh
And
man,
yeah,
you should show him Pixel Map Adventures. If he loves Zelda, he is going to love that game. And in fact, they just made a guest login, so you don't even need a wallet to play Pixel Map Adventures anymore.
ooh, okay. Now we're getting into it. There's an example. I'm actually learning about that. NFT gaming that doesn't even need a wallet. That's an interesting approach for onboarding. Can you tell me more about that, Pause?
Yeah, sure. Pixel Map is sort of a NFT version of the $1 Million homepage where you can own a tile and put a 16 by 16 image on it. And it launched in 2016. I think it was like the third launched project on Ethereum, period. And Ken, the guy who runs Pixel Map, decided that he really wanted to make a game that was associated with Pixel Map in a way that didn't force people to buy an NFT. And so he has actually been working with a few friends of mine. I was in the video game industry for over 15 years before I switched to Web3. And so I hooked him up with a bunch of like an indie dev and a music composer and a project manager. And they have all been working together to make this Pixel Map Adventures game. So if you go to Pixel Map and click on any tile, you can enter the game. And like I said, they just this week put in a new login where if you have a wallet, you can totally log in with it. And in the future, you're going to be able to own a house and put up NFTs in your house, have your MoonCats wandering around your house. But if you are brand new to the Web3 space, don't have a wallet, don't have any NFTs, you can just log into the game.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great rundown. I love it. I mean, that's why we're here. We want to learn about new tactics that folks are using to onboard, learn from like the old tactics that have worked for someone like MoonCats over all the years. Oh, sorry, Silvana, I didn't see that your hand was up. What do you got for us?
No, you're good. It's a bit early for me, so if I start speaking in a weird tongue, then just let me know because it means I accidentally fell back asleep. But thank you for having me. It's Saigo here from Savannah. I had, I guess, kind of like two things to touch on. I mean, I think one is kind of from an individual perspective, and maybe the other is from kind of building a project in the space. But from the individual perspective, that story you told about your cousin kind of resonates. You know, I've not had too many people who are, you know, like haters of crypto so much as they're kind of like, sometimes can, I think maybe speak as if, from maybe being a bit more like patronizing. You know, they're kind of like, "Oh, I heard, you know, how's it going? You know, I heard, I saw crypto is not doing so great," or like, you know, it almost as if like it's not something that it relates to them, as if it's this kind of like small thing that exists, and it's something that it's like your hobby. And so, from that kind of perspective, you know, I found, my most productive conversations happen when people come to me to ask questions rather than me kind of, um, uh, trying to constantly push, you know, Web3, crypto, whatever kind of, the words are, and then finding terms or more friendly terminology to kind of talk about, what these things are, because a lot of these words that we use or are comfortable with, can feel like a different language, and to some degree, already mean things different than what we would like them to mean. You know, whether it's an NFT or the word Web3 or metaverse or what have you. And so, you know, sometimes using those words to try to describe what is going on, and kind of the possibilities that are here, is already a losing battle, because the second you say NFT, they're like $200,000 ape picture. I don't get it. And you're like, well, that's, you know, that is one thing that you've heard about. But that's really just kind of, you know, a very, 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 very small piece of the, you know, the pie. And so, that's, I guess, one aspect, that kind of, I've that has been kind of my experience since 2016, 2017, getting involved. But then on the kind of project side, I think the you know, games with no wallets is obviously a huge entry point. Making it so somebody can log onto your website and play a fun game, and then if they want to take ownership or kind of maximize maybe the participation in the game later on, having, you know, an onboarding stages, you know, when the time is right for them to say, "Oh, what's this thing that I can do here? Okay, there's steps to do this. I can take this thing that I got here and use it over in this other website. That's kind of cool." And kind of having them kind of with them with a kind of similar idea when the time is right, go through that onboarding process. I know a lot of games, you know, looking over here, and a lot of games in Solana talk about, you know, having like a free game, as kind of that Trojan horse, a free to play mobile game or something, and then letting them kind of, as the technology develops and as that the friction kind of decreases, kind of go about that process. But yeah, those are just some thoughts early in the morning.
Yeah, you didn't fall asleep on us. Well done. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, making it relatable, because we spend so much time within this space that it seems like everybody knows just as much as we do. And then you talk to somebody that doesn't know anything about the space, and yeah, that's right. They saw the Beeple sale for 60 some odd million, and they don't know anything else. They don't know any other use cases, but they definitely like read a headline that said NFTs have no utility, and then they say that piece. And I think it's important for us to try and find out what what could make them interested, and use examples that are relatable to their interests, because we're not just going to onboard people, just to have them join in and not stick around. I think that's what we see a lot of the volatility for, or because someone comes in, they think it's just for a quick buck, and then all of a sudden they're gone a couple of weeks later. But if you tell them about something that will keep them interested for years or decades, then you can make a much bigger splash in the onboarding process. But yeah, so Dimension, tell me what you're thinking.
Shout out to Saigo of Savannah. Always good to hear from you, bro. Good morning.
What's up?
Yeah, no, what Saigo said is actually, how we're approaching it. We want it to where people, kind of seamlessly transition into Web3, to where they have this ability to kind of participate in games and explore Dimension in like a Web2 fashion, where they sign in with their Google or with their Facebook. And then if they'd like to, experience it a little bit more immersively, have like a character, or have like something that's unique to their avatar, right? That's something that'll be kind of necessary for them to have, where they'll have to connect their wallet. But we also want them to have like a free to play component where they can get in there, experience things, and if they want to take that plunge, right? We'll set up a tutorial on how you can set up a wallet, how you can, fund it, how you can get inside of the game, and how, again, these avatars, these NFTs, these assets within your avatar, right? How they help create this unique and immersive experience. I think that's one of the ways through gaming that we'll be able to kind of reach mass adoption. I know people always talk about that, and I hate to sound cliche, but that's kind of like the goal. Is people have to know, they have to kind of see that it's an option and choose it there, right? We have to create like a condition or like an environment where they see, where they see everything that's possible in the Web 2 fashion, and then get more of a engaging time whenever they take that plunge. I think that's what we're seeing right now with the gamified staking platforms, the focus on traits, things like this and more, because it's people wanting more out of Web3, out of their NFTs, because we've kind of projected somewhat of our identity on these images, and it's only going to become more again, just more immersive. And so we've got to figure out, okay, how do we make that immersion? How do we make that that conversion? How do we make it easier? And I think that's got to be the way. Is people have to see that, hey, there's a whole nother land of fields of greens over here, but you have to choose. And then when you make that choice, you're gonna see so much more. So I think that's kind of like the approach that we're gonna take, and that we have been taking, and that's why it has to be, again, combined with education. Exploration has to be combined with education. But go ahead.
Yeah, I
Um,
totally agree.
Not to sort of dominate the conversation, but I think the thing that's interesting is some of the pivots we're seeing to education now. I think a lot of projects definitely need to start taking a look at what classic projects did, like MoonCats and others, before the NFT standards, because one of the things that I think helps onboard people to MoonCats in particular is we use really identifiable language. So you don't mint a MoonCat, you adopt it. If you're buying a MoonCat just to sell it again later, it's fostering. But you searched for a MoonCat rather than did a proof of work. And I think that sort of looking at some of the historical NFTs and how they handle terminology, I think is kind of going to be a key to unlocking, onboarding more and more people who don't understand NFT terminology in the future.
I 100% agree with that. I think, yeah, that's another form of making it more relatable and understandable. I mean, you see Angel has his Moonbird, and they used nesting, which is another example of that, where people have an easier sense of what that means when it's like directly related to something they already are familiar with, or something that's related to the look and feel of the project. I think that's really great. I think on the subject of signing in and allowing people to come onto your platform, I will mention Sintra, who's hosting this space, is launching quite soon, and one of the features is that you can log in with a wallet, or you can log in with other forms like email. And I think we all think that that's super important, because it allows people to access this project that aren't necessarily already super into this space. And we think it's super important that everyone and as many people as possible join into NFTs, because we all believe in the power of it, and we think that it can entertain, it can help, it can allow so many new ways to enjoy this space. And part of Sintra's mission is to onboard new folks, and then to have them come and join a social media platform, social network that's all about NFT investing and interacting with NFTs. So that's a little bit on Sintra. I know a lot of you are in this space like, okay, that's who's hosting this, so what's going on there? So I just want to give a bit of background. But I also want to ask everyone about their initial onboarding experience, whenever that was, and like what worked for them, because we all have to, learn from our own examples. And so, yeah, I'm curious. I mean, Paz, starting with you, how were you onboarded, and what worked and what didn't work, and what was that like?
Well, probably to the surprise of no one, MoonCat was my first NFT. Um, Before I sort of joined the MoonCats team, I had definitely been looking at NFTs, both as sort of an investment proposition as well as potentially how they're going to work in terms of gaming. I'm a hardcore gamer. I play games 7 days a week. I am so excited to have NFT gaming sort of starting to bubble up. And so I had looked at NFTs, but hadn't really made the jump because nothing felt like it was the perfect fit for me until Midnight Lightning came to me. I've known him for like 10 years at this point, and many, many years ago, I joked to him, hey, if you ever need a community manager for something, hit me up. And he did at the start of like April in 2021 come to me and say, hey, remember how you made that joke? Well, I'm actually going to take you up on that offer. And as soon as I saw MoonCats, I totally fell in love. I own cats. I love cats. I was just like, yes, this is very clearly the NFT for me.
Yes. Wow. I mean, not a bad first NFT, I gotta say. A lot of us, including myself, didn't get quite as great or smart of a first NFT. But Pog, I see your hand is raised. What was your onboarding experience?
Well, actually, I've been in crypto since 2013, and I had kind of a unique experience. Worked at Google and Unity, helping build out the gaming environment there, and tried to pursue a cross-platform NFT ecosystem for game developers. But my first NFTs were the crypto kitties. Super excited about this conversation. Really glad getting the insight. For us, we kind of have a unique situation where we're a 30-year-old brand. A lot of the millennials who are my age remember Pogs or had Pogs in their pocket on the playground and so forth. And so I've actually adopted kind of or transitioned my pursuit from Unity to creating a cross-platform game ecosystem into the Pog brand. And so we're utilizing that as kind of the umbrella or the wrapper. But we're building an interoperable game ecosystem where developers can utilize Pogs and the Pogger coin in their games, and trying to create an onboarding system for people who don't remember or don't know NFTs but remember Pogs. So it's exactly what all of you are talking about. Gaming is leading the way, adoption through education and through kind of some nostalgia. But it's always changing. So I definitely don't know what I don't know and continue to learn.
That's so rad. I was hoping that's what Pog TM was. Welcome to the space. That's awesome. I am definitely gonna follow along and see, yeah, how that goes. I mean, keep us updated on what it's like bridging a really like notable and recognizable brand from my old days. I'm one of those millennials that you just mentioned that definitely recognizes it. And yeah, bridging the world to NFTs. I mean, we just saw it with some of the cartoons and like Rugrats and SpongeBob coming soon. I think we're all somewhat excited about that in different ways. And then yeah, seeing how NBA Top Shot brought a lot of folks on because they made it easy to go from the like trading cards to the NFTs. And that jump made a lot of sense for a lot of folks, and that was a big piece of the whole movement.
That was actually our first big partner. Our co-founder is actually the vice president of growth at Dapper Labs. She's the general manager of NBA Top Shot, and then our other co-founder is the head of gaming at Solana Labs. So we definitely have taken a page out of their book.
Nice, what a team! I'm pumped that I got introduced to your project. I'll definitely be following along, and yeah, shout out to Dapper Labs for the part that they played in onboarding so many folks into NFTs. Savannah, I see that your hand's raised. Do you have an onboarding story for us?
Yeah, no. I had initially raised it to ask a question, to everybody, pose a question, but you posed a question, so and I do have an answer, so I can just do that. But yeah, I think it's maybe somewhat for a lot of us who maybe came out in 2016, 2017, or 2013 earlier, it's probably gonna look a little bit different. Because for me it was just like a friend's brother texted him and said, "Hey, you need to buy IOTA," and we were like, "What's that?" And then we went through the whole make a Coinbase account, buy Bitcoin, send it to Binance, buy, and it was really, I mean, all under the kind of it was out of like curiosity. I think a lot of people who came in early just had this kind of, were just really curious people. They were intrigued by something new. There's obviously a little bit of financial incentive there. You know, Bitcoin has run up, and you're seeing this thing that could make you money, so you're kind of excited by it. And then I think for a lot of the people who stick around, it's one of those things where once you touch it, you're like, okay, like clearly something is up, like something's different here. And so I think just getting people like that in some way kind of touch it in that sense. So for me, it was I was just a bit more curious. I think a lot of people who just have a bit more curiosity and are willing to kind of go the extra mile to discover it, it's a little bit easier than say someone who's like completely stuck in their ways and doesn't really have the intention. So something like NBA Top Shot, I think was really cool to see. Although I mean, I think it onboarded and offboarded a lot of people at the same time. It's kind of like it's a bit of a double-edged sword with that insane blow off top that happened. But yeah, that'll be. I'm a huge soccer fan myself, and there's a platform called So Rare that's pretty interesting. And I think it's onboarded a lot of soccer people because there's been some pretty Ponzi-ish soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, kind of stock trading like platforms that have. I can't remember their names. Someone here who probably played one of them would know better, but it's just So Rare. I think has been kind of on the soccer side of things has been a pretty interesting tool to onboard people and try to capture the audience of both the footy fans, but then also like people who traditionally play games like FIFA and FIFA Ultimate Team, and spend hundreds of dollars a year, thousands of dollars a year, just opening packs for which the cards they don't own, and when they're going to buy a game the next year again. So there's a lot of like for people like that, it's like, well, duh, why would I want to keep spending thousands of dollars on a game I play for 9 months and then buy a new copy? So there's just a lot of, once you're in it, like a lot that just made sense about, we don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but, helping identify the pain points and seeing how we can fix those with new technology, I think is an appealing kind of onboarding tool as well.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. Yeah, I think there's so many different angles where people can or where brands or even like genres can just get people to put their foot in the door. And you're right. Once they're there, there's so many aspects that folks like want to play with and want to say, okay, wow, this part's really cool. Let me go and check this part out. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think soccer's doing a great job of bringing on folks. Basketball kind of set the trend, but other sports are joining in. And yeah, Eleanor, I know you have an onboarding story, and I see your hand up.
I do. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great. Wow, AirPods make me feel like I'm speaking to absolutely no one, but here we go. Yeah, I would love to share my story. So for transparency's sake, I work for Sintra. I'm very, very privileged and honored to be working for this awesome company. And so I'm now deeper in the Web3 space than I truly ever imagined I would be 6 months ago. And honestly, I think it was Dimension who said this. I loved what you said about education and exploration, because that's what I've been saying to a lot of my friends who are as baffled as I am that I'm this deep in it. Because there's as much, projects are really trying their best to get the education out there, whether that's through short little videos or hosting Twitter spaces or being super responsive in the Discord, like having some awesome mods. But at the end of the day, it really takes dedicating time to exploring to learn what this space was about. And my first month, which was probably in April, so this is very, very fresh for me as opposed to a lot of the OGs in here who were first onboarded 5 years ago. That's really what it took was me just being like, all right, well, I've got a job in Web3 now, so feel pretty incentivized to learn about this space. And so I just spent a ton of time in Discord and on Twitter and following people. And so I think that can be hard, to be honest, because I had the very clear incentive for why I, needed to be spending that time exploring, and other people who maybe are just curious but feel really overwhelmed and think, oh gosh, I don't have like 3 hours a day that I can just dedicate to being in Discord. They might feel like they want a little bit more of that scaffolding for the education. And so I found that the projects I was most drawn to were the ones that were providing that very, very clear scaffolding. And what I mean by that is they were being very intentional about focusing on people who were new to Web3 and onboarding them. And I know that not every project can do that, but just for my own story, that was something that I was really drawn to. And my very clear moment of that was I was looking at, I didn't own an NFT yet. And I was looking at two different projects, and both, they were very different from each other. One of them had a ton of hype and excitement in its Discord because the utility it was talking about for, it hadn't minted out yet. Or it hadn't even, started minting yet. And the utility it was talking about was basically like this IRL experience that you would have access to, this kind of like basically this piece of land where they were building something really exciting and awesome. And I was like, whoa, that sounds awesome. Like, I want to mint this NFT and just be able to go to this like cool, magical place in California as a holder. That sounds amazing. But there was something about it that just felt a little like if I made it to that place in California, would I actually want to hang out with these people? You know what I mean? So I kind of had and I had some conversations with people, and there's just something in my gut where I was like, this seems really cool. And this seems like if I get this now, maybe I could like make a lot of money in the future. But there was just something inside me that I was like, I don't know if this is exactly like, this doesn't really align with my values, if I'm being honest. Like, I have this kind of scarcity mindset thinking about buying this NFT or getting in on this project early. And then I listened to a Twitter space within that week from just these awesome women who, to be honest, I'm forgetting who led it at this point, but I want to look it up later. But just really talking more about inclusion in the Web3 space, like onboarding more women, onboarding more non-binary folks, onboarding more people of color. And I was like, oh yeah, that feels a lot better inside my gut. And I ended up having my first NFT mint be Surge, which is no longer my PFP, but was for a while. But Surge Women did a lot of stuff that was focused specifically on onboarding women, and then got involved also in the Take Up Space community, which is my current PFP. And they're very, they're all about onboarding queer people of color. And I just felt good like moving my money towards that. I was like, yeah, even if I didn't get anything from this, like if I'm moving my money towards this feels good. So that was kind of a rabbit hole. Thank you everyone for bearing with me on that. But yeah, I think that the main thing for onboarding for me was just like finding something that aligned with my values, and also finding those projects that were providing more like concrete education pieces that made me feel like it was okay to be new in this space.
Yeah, that's super well said. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, what a perfect example of coming into the space, not really sure how you want to interact with it, but then like finding your home, finding your people, finding your community by like searching around and speaking with them and seeing who fits. Also, shout out to Take Up Space. They are also in the crowd. I just saw them interacting. Hello, hello, hello. Love to see familiar faces out there. I'm not sure between Dimension and CryptoBots who raised their hand first. I'll leave it up to you two. Whoever.
We're homies.
It was you.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
What's up, my guy?
Go ahead. I'll let Novax go.
Well, you're wise to defer to the CryptoBots because we're extremely lethal. okay? And you don't want to rub us the wrong way. We've got the big guns.
Listen, we're in public right now, so I'll let that fly. But in
I
private,
appreciate that about you. Decorum is important to you to mention, and I want to say that amongst enemies, there must be honor amongst thieves here. So, hats off to you, sir.
Wow, you're just gonna go ahead and throw me in there with that cadre of of characters.
It's funny though, but I think the thing that makes a lot of NFT projects so successful is when they build up rather than tear down. You guys are joking, and I know that you're joking, and I think it's very funny. But definitely, like, you see the attitude of people in CryptoBots and in MoonCats and in a lot of these other historical spaces where everybody is there to build each other up rather than tear each other down, and that is beautiful. And that is definitely going to help onboard the next million people into crypto. Sorry to interrupt you guys. Carry on.
Not at all. It's not an interruption. It's an addition. We love you so much, Pause, and it's so cool having the relationship. I was just saying to somebody that having the relationship with Pause has really opened a lot of doors for me and helped me to understand just precisely how important it is to lift each other up and focus on that which is positive. And that's why I want to raise my hand, because what Eleanor was saying was so cool. With regard to understanding this marketplace, and connecting it all to the theme, Sintra, of community building and onboarding, because that's so essential that we recognize. I mean, I was a financial advisor in a previous life, and I didn't really understand how price discovery happened. But in non-fungible tokens, we see something here where people have to have like a value orientation, and that's a, even if it's non ethical or whatever derived, even if it's just I like hats, I like glasses, the asset itself is something that can be related to on an individual level, and that fundamentally is what makes the non-fungible asset different. And therefore, it creates an incredible environment for like social entrepreneurship, for aligning the asset or the collection with any sort of value, any sort of activism or passion project, anything that requires people to sort of get into their philosophical, ethical headspace and make decisions about the world, the quality of world they want to live in, is so well suited for onboarding in the NFT and in just non-fungible tokens. And maybe you're right. We were talking about $200,000 ape pictures, how that NFT association is made. So maybe we're wise to just stop using the language that's been negatively charged. Maybe we find another way to describe what we're doing that doesn't kind of put up the alarm bells immediately. So anyway, just thank you for the opportunity to have this kind of more Socratic dialogue and conversation. I hope that these spaces continue. I just posted how thrilled and excited I am and tagged you all in there, or is everyone I could fit in the tweet anyway. So we'll be coming to as many of these as you guys host.
To follow up on what Novex was saying, I think that's very important. Just the other day, I was in a space on Twitter, Coffee and Crypto, and they were talking about, is NFT degen behavior? Does that will this cause mental health issues? And I think this is also something to think about, especially whenever we're talking about community building, onboarding people into NFTs. You got to think, not everybody's a degen, right? Not everybody's also an alpha. Some people are very curious about what NFTs are, how they can be used for social change, and the power behind them. But when they come in here and they see a lot of the different type of culture that is here, that's sort of permeated, we kind of have to have a response to that. Some of that has to come with education. Not everybody thinks that NFTs are a rug. Not every NFT is a scam. But at the same time, and I'm glad that Eleanor touched on this, utility is important, right? I came into NFTs at a time frame whenever people were wanting something more than just an NFT. They wanted utility. And people still continually want that utility. They see that we have smart people here. We have the innovation. We have the creativity. There are problems out there. How about, instead of just like pumping people's bags, how about we start affecting change? And I feel like that is such an amazing, that is such a critical juncture for us to be at with this type of technology, that we really are beginning to like uncover some pretty amazing things. And I think by setting this foundation of having like a healthy environment, or at least a safe space, so to speak, that brings up these type of issues and then comes up with like solutions. This is important. It's again like what Eleanor said. You have to find something that has value, or something that is in alignment with your values, right? You may not be You know, you may not be a coin flipper. You may not be, somebody that goes to casinos. You may not like games. You may not do anything like that, and that's perfectly all right. The beautiful thing about Web3, about NFTs, and about these different communities is there's one for you. And I got to be honest. Some of the information that is out there regarding NFTs, uh, because things have been sensationalized and not really like generalized and just kind of made easy to understand. When you first come into it, it kind of seems overwhelming. You think, oh wow, there's a whole lot of money here. This is really really advanced technology. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to understand it. And that's not the case. I learned more about NFTs after I actually lost money and did get rugged and did get scammed, because I started looking a little bit more for things. And so I'm not sure, what that says about the space, right? Of whether or not we have progressed. But I think people more often than not experience this type of situation. And I think as people stay longer in this space, that responsibility to kind of disseminate that information, or at least present it in a non overwhelming fashion, is vital, right? And and we've been talking about the solution here already. What is the easiest way to do that? Make it seamless. Show them how, Spotify can be an NFT. Show them how a game can be an NFT. Show them how Netflix could be tokenized or something to that degree, right? Help them understand the importance, and that's just something I think that'll come with time. The more that we figure out ways to kind of seamlessly uh, transition people. But to follow up with what Novak's is saying and what Eleanor is saying, I thoroughly believe that with how early we are in the space, so to speak, there's a lot of change that can come here, and it does come with education. It comes with experience, time, and education.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think what's been beautiful about this far into the bear market is that you see all the people that are still here connecting and trying to build each other up and trying to help educate and trying to do the right things for the NFT ecosystem, instead of just puppet bags and moving floors. And we know that there's room for that too. I mean, look, this is going to be a giant ecosystem, so there's going to be all sorts of ways that people participate, and that's okay. And it's also really inspiring to be here while folks are not necessarily making a ton of money, but to see that all of these groups, everyone that's up here speaking, folks that are in the crowd, are here to build each other up, help each other educate, and to help come up with ideas of how we can make this space bigger and better. And so I appreciate all of you for giving some pieces of advice, for giving some tips, and for just joining in and being here at a time where some people are posting about Twitter being dead, and it's like no. If you're looking in the right places, there's still plenty of life here, and if anything, it's like life that is that's encouraging and life giving. But I do want to take it back to, so FYI, we've got about like 15 more minutes of this space, so I do want to take it back to pause and ask you a little bit more about MoonCats, since it is your 5-year anniversary. So we gotta put some focus on the cats, and ask you. I mean, this is about onboarding and community building, which has like so much crossover. So it's kind of hard to parse out what the difference is, because the first step of community building and a few of the steps after that are definitely related to onboarding, and they're kind of interchangeable. But I do want to say, like, for the MoonCats, what else has really worked in the bear market, and like what really worked in the bull market? Were there many changes that you made, or would you say that it's like consistency is the key?
Yeah, I mean, our sort of strategy hasn't changed between the bull market and the bear market. Partly, I think, because, and the community down in the listeners are going to be laughing about this, we kind of suck at marketing. We are very cool at building cool shit, less so at marketing. And so our our strategy hasn't changed, because the thing that we're discovering is, in the bear market, the price for shilling and sort of the classic Web3 marketing, the price on all of that stuff has gone up, and the reliability of it has gone way down. And so our sort of strategy in terms of community building, getting people into MoonCats and learning about MoonCats for the first time, that hasn't changed as much. the one thing that I think has really changed in sort of the bear market versus the bull market is the slowdown in everything going on has let us build out our professional networks in a way that we didn't have the opportunity to in 2021 when everything was going, full cylinders. Just the amount of conversations that I've been able to have with other community managers, other social media coordinators, project builders in the last 6 months has been really amazing and has helped me approach MoonCats in a totally different way. Just having sort of casual conversations, like with Can at Pixel Map, with the Puny Codes team, which is entirely user run. I bought into Lucky Mineki, whose developers completely rugged them, and now it's run by the community. Having those experiences, talking with the people doing those roles for a different NFT has been so helpful. I know that the space is mostly around community building and onboarding, but like building out the network of CMs that has cropped up in NFTs is so important right now. I think we're really at that crucial point where we've all sort of started talking to each other, and that those relationships are only going to make community management for the whole Web3 space better.
Yes. I want to like sound the alarm, the like flip, 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 because every time I pass over you, there's like so much juiciness, so much goodness. I think you're being a little hard on yourself saying that MoonCat sucks at marketing because it's certainly worked on me, and I really enjoy the look and feel and so much of what y'all put out. I also will say that yes, like now is such an incredible time to be, having these conversations and to learn from each other. Because we're building. There's so much more time. There's only been so much time so far, and I think that a lot of people forget that. We were talking about how like patience is hard to find in this space, but a lot of people forget that like even though they're not seeing a post every day, like with the perfect update to a roadmap, these things are being built behind closed doors. And yes, it's felt like years, even though it's only been months, but that means that stuff is coming and is coming soon. And it may not feel like there is some incredible community building aspect that's coming in the next month or two, or there's some incredible new innovation and onboarding that's coming in a month or two, but it is. And like, I think I'm saying it right now to remind myself too, because these things, it's easy to forget when there's a lot of negativity on Discord or Twitter, or eventually on Sintra. But these things are coming, and it's folks like yourself that are chatting with other people and learning from other people in the space they're helping to build and innovate.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of wild how much stuff sort of goes on in my day-to-day job, sort of that no one sees. Like, I handle at least 200 DMs a day from people. That is like a huge amount of the work that I do. A lot of those are people that are new to MoonCats or new to Web3, or we're talking about partnerships, or I am, communicating with other community managers. And in fact, the thing that I've been working on the most for about 3 weeks now is the 5th anniversary of MoonCats. So as we mentioned at the start of the space, August 9th was the day that August 9th, 2017 was the day that the MoonCatRescue contract was deployed. Tomorrow, August 10th, was the day MoonCat 0 was minted. And so we always do sort of like a fairly big celebration around this. It's one of our 2 big anniversaries for the year. So things that we're going to be doing this week, we launched the International Cat Day auction yesterday, raising funds for the Edinburgh Dog and Cat House. I always say it backwards. It's the Cat and Dog House, and you're never going to convince me otherwise. It has a unique accessory to it. And in fact, I want to touch a little bit upon accessories because MoonCats are kind of different from other NFTs in that they do have their static traits. And for MoonCats, that's things like coat pattern. It's whether they're facing left or right, what expression they have on their face. And then because MoonCats came out before sort of the NFT standards that really got solidified in 2021 came out, we have made it so that any MoonCat can go to what's called the boutique. And any artist can design inside of the boutique an accessory for a MoonCat. And so MoonCats all, when they're kind of like necky and running around in their natural state, they all sort of do look like each other, which was very deliberate and intentional. But if you want to further customize your MoonCat, you can go there and purchase any designs that people have put up there. They're anywhere from free up to, I think the most expensive one has been like 1 ETH. Um, and so, and it's sort of like unlocking a skin in a video game, where once you have purchased an accessory, you can put it on, you can take it off, you can change the order in which the accessories are visible. So like on my sort of profile pic MoonCat on Discord, she's wearing a ninja suit, and then she has the Ponderware visor on top of it. Only staff for the MoonCatRescue have that particular visor. I have a second MoonCat that they have a monster cat accessory behind them, and then they have pants on in front of that. And I could move, if I had 10 or 12 accessories on that MoonCat, I could change the order in which they are visible. And so much like we did last year, we're going to have accessories that will be available only tomorrow on the 10th. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we've launched 8 POAPs since the rediscovery in March of 2021. If you own any of the MoonCat POAPs, you will be able to paint on our POAP Pixel Party canvas, and that will be sort of a moment in time, and we will be able to lock that in and potentially give out copies to people. And there's all sorts of stuff going on tomorrow. We're going to have a Discord hangout. We're going to have another Twitter Spaces, and there's stuff coming later in the week as well.
Yes. I mean, that's why people are tuning in. They want to learn from, and this is why we write the experts, because y'all have been doing this forever. You're innovating, you're trying new things. Like this accessory innovation it was very new, and I clearly had fun with it. That's why I've got some Nouns glasses on my MoonCat. But it's also inclusive of the community, and I'm sure that you talked with the community before you made that decision, and that's an important insight, right? It's like you could have just had the original artist make all the accessories, but you decided to let anyone within the community come in and build the accessories out, and that's what people want to feel. They want to be able to participate and play and be artists and create on top of their NFTs. Like that's super rad.
You don't even need to own a MoonCat to design in the boutique. Literally anybody can go there and fling pixels.
Fling pixels. Okay, I'm stealing that. I think I'm a pixel flinger now. That kind of sounds like a cat in a kitty litter, but with pixels.
and the best part is you no longer have to get rugged by the project of the day. If you want, you can just design a MoonCat accessory. So we have, I think, actually 2 Kevin MoonCat accessories. We have a Moonbird accessory, although that's not a rug. But we have Saudi's head scarves accessory. So I think someone designed a duck for the Just Mallards that came out recently. So you can always turn your MoonCat into, the flavor of the day and still have a valuable MoonCat left over at the end of the fad.
Yeah, I mean, talk about like taking action to what is part of your mission, which like we discussed before, inclusivity and lifting each other up, like the way that MoonCats allows other NFT projects accessories to be included in that project is a great way to show like, hey, look, we care about other NFTs and we're fine with our MoonCat rocking other projects look and feel. And I think that's huge.
We have so many crossover accessories from other historical NFTs, and we are just getting started. We are going to have a lot more crossovers throughout the rest of the year.
Yes, I think that's super important. I think we're taking note. Like being able to combine projects is a big step. And for any of the folks that are just joining in or want to, go back to parts of this recording, I mean, there was alpha the entire time, not just from pause, which I mean, I think your alpha per minute is the highest of anybody, but even from all the other speakers, there's so much good information. This space is recorded if folks want to go back and listen in and find out what other tips we gave. Sintra is also going to write up a thread on some of the onboarding and community building tips that have been shared that come from the experts at MoonCats. But I do want to open it up to the other speakers. Are there other things that you want to share about successful community building tactics that you've used, and whether that's changed through the bear or the bull market.
Sure, yeah. If you guys can hear me, what we did to start, because we were a little bit older, we were able to say if anybody had real pogs, they could take a picture of their pogs and get on our pog list. And then that's how we built the initial part of our community. Is we weren't really just trying to get folks throughout the NFT community. We were really, really, really specific. And that actually led to kind of a couple challenges where we didn't actually get to release as big of a collection as we wanted. We had to pare it down to fit our team, our community, but it ended up being the right move. We're a much smaller community than we expected, but everybody there is pretty on board with the Pogs thing. So, give and take.
Yeah, that's super rad. A similar tactic. I think that's an OK Bear. It might not be an OK Bear. That's on your Pog. And
yes.
Rug Radio did something similar where their rugs had different NFTs in the center of the rug, which was super cool. But yeah, anybody else want to share some community building alpha that they've seen throughout the last few months, years? Okay. Nobody has had any learnings from the last 6 months, and that's okay. With the future, we'll have plenty of learnings too. Well, I will say thank you to everyone that joined in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in this space at this time. Thank you for supporting other NFT communities, and I wish you all the best of luck in onboarding your cousins that call this a scam, onboarding your friends that aren't quite sure but you're still working on them, and for building up the communities that you're a part of and the other communities in the space and the communities that you're about to join, because I think and I hope that Sintra is going to be a community that you really enjoy and a product that you really have a lot of fun with. I can't share too much alpha, but we are coming soon, so follow along, and we'll be sharing little updates. There's going to be a sneak peek of our product video in the next few weeks, so definitely follow along so you don't miss that. And yeah, Pause, is there anything else you want to leave with? I know you've got some exciting stuff for the 5-year anniversary tomorrow, but anything else?
It's okay to try something and be wrong. And if your community knows that they are along for a long-term ride, they will be pretty gracious even when you screw something up. But being honest and at least making an effort goes a huge way towards building community.
Yes. The wise words, the highest alpha per minute speaker of all time. Pause. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to the MoonCats community. We love all of y'all. We hope you have all of your bags either sell or buy or whatever you're hoping for. We hope you find the community that really speaks to you. I'm going to sign us off because we've got to go. But thanks for joining in, and we feel bullish. I'll just say that.
Lesson 3 to all my kitties.
Fur over floor. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next week. We're going to do some game nights. We're going to do some other fun community onboarding, NFT-related spaces, bullish NFTs. Keep your eyes out because we're just going to be spreading positivity and alpha and good vibes. So we'll hopefully see you on the next space, and we'll definitely see you on Twitter, and we'll hopefully see you on Sintra in a few weeks. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. See y'all.
Thank you. You guys be safe.
You too. Everyone.